So anyway,
I'll trim this out at the beginning anyways.
okay.
We're just waiting on, good old YouTube.
Sorry.
There we go. Hey everyone, I'm Eric. This is my laughing wife, Julie. I swear you laugh at the beginning of every podcast.
It's just
the way it is.
Awkward. Like it's silence until there's music. It takes forever for the music. It's just
We are the blended life.
awkwardly here.
So tonight's topic is social distancing, social learning distance. How do you even explain this? What is this garbage that we're dealing with?
We're just talking about, our kids and school in a blended family, basically, and what that looks like.
Social, distance learning? What is it called?
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, I mean, they're distance learning. A lot of people have
I'm like, they're not far enough away.
A lot of people have pulled their kids from school and doing homeschool now.
Which is like kind of the same. It's like same but different.
Yeah.
It's like Taco Bell. It's all the same thing.
Oh my gosh,
right?
But different. Yeah.
I'm going to make lots of food references today. Julie made me rabbit food for lunch and I'm starving.
I didn't make you rabbit,
it was rabbit
food for lunch.
You're like, hey, do you want stir-fry noodles or whatever it was called?
Stir-fried vegetables with noodles.
It was lots of vegetables with like
There's
a little bit of noodles. So
he's like,
anyways, so social distance learning.
You need to learn about
thingamabobber.
health. Maybe we have a podcast where you were like, we can do healthy facts and healthy foods.
What do you guys think about that?
We can make Eric
Put it
a
in the
healthy
comments below.
individual.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's so hard to lose weight with this guy. Like, he wants to eat all the good stuff and he doesn't really gain weight. But then there's me who looks at a brownie, right, and it's like 5 pounds. And
A 5-pound brownie?
So,
I'm down. Let's do this.
See what I'm saying? Bad influence. All right. So school with the kids. Well, let's save distance learning for a little bit.
Oh, we're going to lead them on?
Yeah.
All right. It's like
Because
a first date, you guys.
No, I just want to talk about school. And there's a lot of frustrations when it comes to school and having kids with 2 households.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So have you experienced, like, okay, so information, for instance, right? What do you guys think that teachers should consider and principals and schools should consider when kids are, learning and going home to 2 different households during the week? For me, it's always frustrating. I start every school year off, not anymore since Cole, my son's in high school, but in elementary school.
Well, you still do for the youngest.
Yeah, in elementary school, every year I send the teacher an email saying, hi, I'm so thankful for you. Let me know how I can support you.
How may I serve you?
I do the sandwich. I do the good. I do like what I need. And then I, thank you so much. You're wonderful.
And words of encouragement.
Yeah. So the meat of my emails are always like, for instance, my daughter lives between 2 homes and information doesn't make it between 2 homes for whatever reason. Things fall through the cracks. It's very hard to have like both parents know what's going on with
and it
our
seems
child.
to get harder and harder. You would think that the co-parenting, working out school schedules gets a little easier, but how did that go for you this year? It seems to get a little harder.
The what?
Oh my gosh,
I'm
she's
reading
Instagramming
now.
you
Well,
guys. If you're on Instagram, she's paying more attention to you
What is
than
she
she is
saying?
to me. Oh my gosh,
I
sorry, you guys.
can't multitask.
Here, let me do the multitasking.
You do the math.
So
okay, thank you.
if it's getting harder for you, like this co-parenting schooling is getting harder. It should be getting easier. Usually things get easier for people. How's it going this year?
This year, well, it gets harder for me because I think that there's no co-parenting happening with my kids and their education. So like, and I think I talked about this to death another podcast, but like in my situation, what's happening is dad and stepmom are sitting down and making all the decisions together. and implementing them and kind of leaving biomom me out of the loop completely. And I find out later afterwards, and it's a little unfair because stepmom to my kids works for the school district. So she's always like knows everything before public can even know anything. So she's looking at my kids' files and she's looking at everything and gets access to information before I even get the chance. And it would be lovely, right, if she would pass it along as I'm the mother.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really ever happen.
Well, this year got a little more complicated.
Yeah, I talked about this already. I feel like, did I not?
Did we talk about this part?
Yeah.
On last week's?
Yeah.
Had this already happened?
Yeah. So yes. So this week, this year with distance learning, right? I sent an email to my children's teacher, and the same email I was describing earlier. My name. I'm my daughter's name. She lives between two households, and the teacher is actually friends, or I don't know how good of friends, but knows my kid's stepmom, and so they have, she basically, the teacher emailed me back saying, so excited to have your daughter in my class.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah. And she said, don't worry. She said my stepmom, she said my kid's stepmom's name. She's like, the stepmom and I already have it figured out how this year is going to go. So if it doesn't work out, let me know. Basically. And I was like, carrot to clue the mom in.
So did you ever get clued in on this? People are dying to know.
No. So there were 10,000 emails I wanted to write to both my ex-husband and the teacher, because I'm like, there's the bio mom in it all. And I didn't, because I didn't want to put the teacher in that awkward. I didn't want to start the year off on that note. I didn't want to be perceived as the crazy
and put her on the
high
defense.
Conflict bio mom.
We all know you.
But, I didn't make it an issue. I'll deal with things as they come up. But already, first day of distance learning, right, that we get my kids back. We haven't started with your son yet.
No. So
that'll be Monday.
This is kind of like jumping the gun for me having this podcast already. But
Sorry.
I've already kind of dealt with him.
Yeah.
Not him, but his mom a little bit. And her and I talk about these things fine.
Yeah.
But he seems to be struggling to want to thrive in school, which I get.
No
he'd rather
kid's
be
excited about
He'd rather be
this.
doing everything else. So
Yeah.
what's this smart ass do? He has to take a placement test for schooling, and the kid's no dummy, but he knows how to work systems, and I think we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, but let's tell everyone, your son's being officially homeschooled. Not through public school, through a charter school.
Same but different, yes.
Yeah, and so my kids are also just public school distance learning. So
Yeah.
we have two completely different things going on.
Right.
In
So
our
so
home.
what's he do? He has to take a math placement test.
Yeah.
He purposely does not very good. He's going into 8th grade. He goes in at a 5th grade math level. And now he's just flying through his assignments. Now he's like, oh, yeah, this is easy. This is easy. This is easy. And he's just acing everything. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, kid. Him and I haven't had this talk yet. I don't know if he has his phone taken away or not, but I haven't heard from him today, which is really weird. And I'm curious to see how it's going. So from what I understand, the first day with him, his mom said was very rough. He didn't want to be doing anything. It wasn't going very well. It was just lots of tension, and they were having issues. And I just happened to be away from my phone that day. Didn't have it on me. I had a lot of work going on, so I wasn't keeping up with it, and I wasn't in the drama in the mix. But then the next day seemed to be going fine, So I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm going to roll into on Monday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
It will.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I think is frustrating for me as a stepmom, and is in this situation, is I have absolutely no idea.
Right.
And
You haven't had any communication. You have no idea if it went well for them.
No, I have no idea.
What the plan that
I have no idea
your
that
ex and the
I'm talking about with you.
Oh, for us? I'm talking about for you. Like, you have no idea either, like, what
Yeah.
they have planned for you guys, how it's going to work out between the two households. But yeah, for us,
I'm saying, okay, hear me.
Let's get on the same page here,
Hear
you guys.
me. Here's what I'm saying. As a stepmom
Hi.
to your son,
Yes.
dad,
Right.
stepmom, the hard thing is, and it has been for both years, kind of, is I feel like we are so, like, you're going to get told how it's going to go.
Right.
And there's
Yeah,
no real,
I've already been sent. I mean, we talk about it a little bit, but she already kind of has it.
like, it's already done and planned out and how it's going to go. And
what
she's letting you
curriculums
know
and-
what
yeah.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
There's no real, like, understanding. Like, we didn't even know what first day was.
But I'm not as big on that as you are, where you're like, I want to know what class and what time and form it all. Where as his general education, which is, I mean, is really what he's doing right now. He's not in high school yet. So we're not picking classes that are going to suit him. And
I thought you did pick he's doing, like, all kinds of weird classes.
no, he's trying to get into some, but they're for high school kids. So he's trying to get into like some computer science classes and stuff like that. So, but I did have a say in that. She asked me like, hey, like, or told me about it. I think this would be a good idea. I'm like, yeah, I think that'd be right up his alley. I don't think it's going to work though, because I believe it's for like 10th grade and on.
And if he's got a
8th grade.
5th grade math level, they're probably going to be
See,
like,
here's the thing though. If he wants to figure out a math problem, he'll do it. You know what I mean? He's no dummy when it comes to stuff like this. He's smart enough to know if I test in at a low level, that's the type of work I'm going to have to do. The kid plays the system. I think I've told you guys, and I probably shouldn't be saying this on here, but I come downstairs one day and he's working at his computer doing homework a while back, and he's got all of the back end of this computer course that he's doing. He's doing it's like multiplication.
this is last school year.
Multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's choosing, what answers, but he's got the entire HTML code opened up for this. And I see him just hovering over everything. I'm like, what are you doing, kid? He's all nothing. And I watch him, and I just kind of watch him from a distance. And he's totally watching the HTML, all the script change on the screen to find out which answer is the right answer. And I'm like, now, like, should I be pissed off at this kid? Or, so I kind of scold him a little bit, but I'm also like kind of proud of him. Like, you learn how to hack the back end of your school programming to figure out what answer's right. So he's acing these tests, doing it. So I made him, I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's not the right way, but kind of deep down inside, I'm like, if you can figure out how to do this and their IT department hasn't blocked it out so kids can't do this, like, if you can get around the system and make it work for you, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the devil and the angel on both shoulders. Like, I'm proud of them, but I'm kind of disappointed that technically it's cheating, so I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Like, should I encourage him or should I not? I scolded him a little bit. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be doing this. You need to learn this type of stuff. You're going to need to know this. But in my mind, I'm thinking, like, if you know how to work the system like this, like, you're going to be able to get through anything, right? What's your thoughts on that?
I think you and I just have very different parenting
Of course
styles.
we do.
This is why we could never have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want the, oh, yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, so I'm more like, the point is the exercise is to learn this. Like, I wouldn't be okay with the 5th grade. If I know my child's capable of more.
Do you think I'm okay with it?
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like, I want my kids to learn and know everything that they can possibly know and test their boundaries and expand their knowledge. And, but I believe in school. I don't think school's a joke. I think that education is very important. So I
don't,
I
don't
about
either.
that,
I
and
think
I don't think cheating is okay on any level.
I don't either, but I'm also like,
but that's just me.
Is it cheating, or is the kid smarter than the system? You know what I mean? Like, what other kids are thinking?
But it's integrity. At
Yeah,
the end of the day, it's integrity. Like,
it is,
yes,
and that's what I told him.
If you can, just because you can cheat on your spouse and not get caught, does it make it okay?
No.
Like, if you knew you could go sleep with anyone you wanted, and I would never know, and that was like a
no,
guarantee
but that comes
from
down
God,
to morals,
integrity.
though. So if you have
that is yes, it's a value,
right, but there's a thing called life hacks these days, and everyone's doing life hacks, and it's not about cheating, and it's not about getting over on people, but it's about getting ahead and learning ways to get through life easier, you know? I mean, my sandals have a bottle opener on the bottom of them.
I think that's a little bit different.
That's a life hack.
I mean, okay. So
you guys,
whatever.
if you guys are watching this on YouTube,
doesn't-
this is the face of a disappointed stepmom right here.
It's just I would
It's
do
pretty.
it different. It's just
I
different.
know you would.
And everyone would do it different.
But all of
Doesn't
our-
mean that I'm right.
Right, but all
It's
of our
just
kids
me.
do it differently too. Like
Yeah.
our kids are all so different, you
Yeah.
know? And it's just I don't know. Like so it's not like I was just like, "Hey, yeah, go ahead and keep doing that," you know? And it was kind of the
Yeah,
integrity
but the
talk.
second your son hears proud, everything else goes
But
away.
he doesn't have his phone tonight, so I know he's not watching this.
But I mean, I don't think it's a secret. You've told the story.
Not in front of him. I didn't. I don't even think he remembers that I did it. Anyways,
But
like I
mean,
said, this is the face of a disappointed stepmom, you guys.
we just have different opinions, and I think that's normal. We're different humans.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Anyways,
yeah, your kid is beyond smart in more ways than I
in
could
different
ever.
ways.
Like,
We
and
have smart
capable
kids in
and
all
strong-
different
like,
ways,
it's-
though.
Yeah.
Like when it comes down to book smarts, you know, we have two kids that take that cake. When it comes down to street smarts, we have one kid that takes that cake, you know. When we have the cake smarts, we have the other kid that takes that cake.
Oh my God. All right, back to topic at hand. So
I found a raisin under.
I was like, what was that?
That's a raisin, you guys. In case you saw me pull this out a little while ago. I told you it was going to be a lot about food today. You
Yeah.
started talking about sandwiches or cookies, whatever, your emails, and then pop, a raisin. Here it
Oh.
is.
Well, all right. So let's talk about what we wish schools would consider. So I wish teachers would consider that kids have two homes and maybe have two sets of information. Like, I think schools have enough funding, or like I would kick $5 to the school to make extra copies.
$5? You know what you can get for $2, you guys?
You know what I'm
Just kidding.
saying? Like, even with this distance learning thing, you know, the students were all given a big box full of supplies. And that's fine. I mean, each of our homes are pretty stocked with, like, you know, it's not the highlighters and all that bullshit that we need in the paper, which is great that they provide that, but it's just like the actual schoolwork. And I'm just like, why can't, if you know you have a kid who's between two homes, you know, provide two sets of paperwork for them to fill out, or give families the option to buy. Like, I know workbooks, right, aren't cheap and whatever, but I would give at least parents the option to buy a second workbook so that kids don't have to lug all this crap back and forth between homes.
But it's also a great lesson for kids, and it's not perfect. It's not perfect, and you struggle with this.
What's the lesson?
To teach them to
Responsibility.
the responsibility to bring things back and forth, to have that.
Yeah, my daughter's getting punished right
But
now
that's-
for
but
that
see,
one
but that's
thing.
the shitty thing, though. That is, and sorry for
And-
using your words, you guys.
Yeah, thank
Julie's
you for
words.
cussing.
That's not even like Friends says that, and she watches that. Like, it's the little kids are saying shitty these days. Like,
So here's the thing. So the email that I wrote,
and it's
first-
a thing. There's shitty,
Shitty.
there's states, and there's countries. Shitty states and countries.
all right. So first day of distance learning in our home for my kids was Tuesday morning officially. They came home Monday afternoon. We started Tuesday morning. So, of course, all the information isn't in the box.
That always happens to you.
It always happens to me. I never get information for one reason or another. So I text her dad and I'm like, "Hey, can you send me, you know, it's the welcome sheet and the rule sheet and, you know, the teacher handout information."
Which is also kind of BS these days. Like, if we're all distance learning and it's all coming via computer, via internet, why can't they send the stuff out? Why can't at the beginning of the year teachers set up like just a little database, you know, and all of a sudden they have
PDFs all day long.
That's it though.
I don't care
we
how
get-
I
we
get it. I
get
just want the
emails-
information.
I get emails from your daughter's school all the time about so much worthless crap. I mean, really though. I'm like, stuff that they're considering. They're telling us stuff that they're considering. They never tell us the hard choices that they make or what's actually being made. Sorry, you're scratching the microphone with your
You're not reading, you're not doing your job.
I am. I already gave a thumbs up for you.
Oh.
See, you're throwing us all off now. That response is yours right there, by the way. Um, why can't they send out emails that have all this type of information in it? Why does it
Yeah.
have to be printed out papers, like, and we're in California, you guys. I mean, not only is this place burning to the ground, but they're trying to save the world here. They're trying to save the environment. So why are they printing out all these extra papers that are just getting lost and littered down the street? Why don't they send this via email
And let you print it at
and
home.
consume our
Well, I'll
electricity?
tell you why. I'll tell you why in the public school system.
Let's hear it.
All right. The reason why they can't expect, because not every home has a printer and a computer.
Who cares to print it out? And they're passing out Chromebooks. They're giving kids Chromebooks.
Right. But not every home has a printer and paper and parents who can afford to print out worksheets.
Then
And
let's-
that's the truth. So
Then
they don't.
just like banking systems, it
That's
should be
the
an opt-in,
education.
opt-out type of thing.
Totally.
You're like,
Well-
yes, we're going to send this. But then if you are not capable of receiving this, please let us know. We need, check the box here
Yeah.
and we'll send it to you.
Listen, I'm all about information. I'm all about picking and choosing what I want and what I don't, what I need, what I don't. But back to the story so of course I didn't get 2 sheets. I didn't get.
You didn't give 2 sheets?
I didn't get
about
some
this
paperwork.
shitty.
Yeah, it is what it is. I was annoyed and frustrated because it's just par for the course. And I keep thinking maybe this year it'll be different. And it's just never different. So
It's worse.
her dad gets mad and says, until our daughter can learn to be responsible, she's grounded from I'm like, it's day 1 of school. Like, calm down. I didn't respond to
And they just
any
got out of like
it.
a 6-month summer.
I didn't respond to any of it
Good.
because I don't agree with her being grounded off the bat. I mean, this is, she's a child, 5th grade. Like,
My son's math level.
yeah, they could do math together. But like how I took the car keys by accident
Uh-huh. When?
and I'm going to be 39.
Oh, today?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like people
but
forget
you were
stuff,
responsible. You
know?
called me when you were a half hour away and said, "Hey, sorry, I took the car keys
I just didn't
to the other
realize
car." So that's fine. We have
But-
other cars.
So that's not the point. And what makes me even more angry is it's not on the kids to share information, it's on the parents.
100%.
It's on the adults. And so really it's like he's getting mad at her when I'm like, "Listen, dude, it's your job as my co-parent." I didn't say this either because I'm not
Should've.
trying to start a fight, but like,
It's not a fight. It's standing up for your daughter and yourself.
right, but he blames it on my daughter.
He blames everything on everyone else. You guys get this.
Anyway,
Someone that blames everything on everyone else.
Yes. So, I'm also like, you should make sure, like, I try to scan an email or I text screenshots of
Mhm.
school information
Take a
as I
picture of
get it,
something, right.
whether it's field trip forms when that was a thing. And
Remember when field trips used to exist?
yeah, or projects, if my daughter has a project coming up, I want to give dad all that information because they take a long time.
How are
and
projects
stuff.
going to look this year? It was already
Yeah.
a cluster to begin with.
Well,
and
projects is another thing that's really hard with blended family kids, right? You have a missions project and you're trying to do it between 2 homes, or usually kids have like one big school project a year, and that's been really, really difficult.
parents probably think that we're in like a religious school, like missions in California. There's the missions, the trail of missions that goes from Mexico all the way up north through California, and every 4th grader in the state of California learns about these missions. That was
Mm-hmm.
forever ago, and they have to learn about their mission, and then they create a report and a project, and they usually build a model of their mission or
Mhm.
do a report, do something fun. Like my son did a video on it.
Annabelle baked cookies.
She baked, which is
cornmeal cookies
cornmeal
out of
cookies.
like what?
So they're learning about
The
like culture.
culture, yeah.
And anyway, so that's when she says mission, like it's a big thing. They learn an entire semester about these
Yeah.
missions, and at the end there's a big project due.
Yeah. But I think that's normal. Like every elementary school has a big project every year for their students. And, things like this, I wish teachers would consider. I wish teachers would consider and make an effort. Like, how can I support you parents as 2 homes and get you the information you need? I wish there was more of that conversation. I wish with projects came around, right, teachers would understand that, building a mission between 2 households is difficult. So maybe we give Johnny an extra week so she can do it. so he could
that's
do
right.
it in,
21st century, baby.
in one home, or I don't, it's just, yeah,
You keep
schools.
mentioning, like, I wish teachers would do this. I wish teachers would do that. I'm like,
Mhm.
I wish teachers would just go back to school and everyone would let them.
They would love to.
I
They're
know they
teaching
would.
from their
I know
classroom.
it's not their
They're
fault.
still at school.
I'm just wishing that this would end.
Yeah. And the distance learning thing too between two households, right? So you got different setups at each household.
You got some parents working. You have some of you not working. You have,
Yeah.
you have kids
Good
that.
luck to the kids with two working parents full time who have to learn at home.
Well, and then here's the other catch is you get what you think is going to be her school schedule this year, and it's just kind of a blanket schedule. It was like we start at 9, we have lunch somewhere between 12 and the hours were weird.
Mhm.
Somewhere in there you're going to have a break, and then we get out kind of.
Not every school district is like that.
I know, but it was wild, right? It's like
Yeah. Well, and
so
I
you
don't know
you
if
couldn't even set a true schedule.
No, and how her teacher is running it, from what I've seen the 2 days she was here, was, they start at 9 and then they get told when they have to be back online. So usually it's like back at 11, back at 1 is what I've kind of seen as the schedule. But then what about internet? Like, I know my daughter in her dad's house, her internet's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Same
could be
thing.
because they have all these kids on. They have 4 kids online at one time.
My son at his mom's house, they live in like it's considered rural. It's only a few miles from here, but it's out of town where you can't have cable internet.
Right.
So they're working off of like very shoddy satellite internet. Which,
Yeah.
if you guys know satellite internet, it's very, very spotty.
Right.
It should be better these days, but it's not. So, for a kid that is in public school that has a set schedule,
Mm-hmm.
what happens, or California's burning to the ground right now. Like half the not the shitty, but the state is out of power. We're having all these rolling blackouts, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but how crappy has internet gotten over the last week? And it's not some surprise. It's all this demand for it. It's like electricity right now. The heat's up. Everyone's got their AC blaring. All the kids, all the parents are out of work. Everyone's at home. Everyone's using electricity. So it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
So it's just.
But some
it's
cities, like we do have
shitties.
We do have places, like I think there's a park in our city that is offering, like the city is sponsoring free internet.
Oh, that's cool.
So like kids could go outside and go to this park and sit there with their laptops or Chromebooks and access free internet. I know some internet services are offering free services.
Why can't we do that on school grounds though? For those parents that are still working, why can't we have an outside program where the kids do go there?
Yeah, facilitating that I think would be a big undertaking.
We facilitate them in rooms to begin with. Why can't we facilitate an outside classroom situation?
Maybe they will do that.
You can still go to Walmart, you guys. You can't go to school.
No, or church.
And how dare you go to church? Don't die either. You can't have a funeral.
So I think that's a really big struggle, though. Like Annabelle gets very frustrated at her dad's house. She told me because the internet keeps shutting off, and then here it's a little bit better. But she did get kicked off here too a couple times, and so that's something. Also, wish schools and teachers and principals would make an effort when it comes to, what is it, like one-on-one with teachers. What's that called? I just had a brain fart.
I thought you were going to say communication, but like parent-teacher conferences?
Yes, like parent-teacher conferences, making sure that they're talking to both parents.
Not just setting it up for one.
Yeah, I think teachers just, as long as I have one parent, and the other parent, and it's, I just wish there was more engaging the fact, and more respect that there's two parents involved.
I think that's the school that they're going to, though, because the public school that my kids went through we were able to set up separate times if we wanted, if we pleased.
Yeah, no, that's happened, but it's like there's teachers, I guess it's just maybe being more aware that one parent, it's not a normal one parent situation.
Yeah.
And understand that not every set of divorced parents are co-parenting well. You know?
So is there
I think teachers are like, oh, it's up, and I get it's up to you, but it would just be nice to not have to, if you have a high conflict co-parent,
right?
it would be nice to just be more in touch with the teacher and not.
So a lot of this comes
You
down to
know.
the teacher, though. I think, right?
The
It's not the
teachers,
schools facilitating this; it's the teacher and being
Well,
able
and
to be in
the
communication.
principal implementing rules
Right.
for their school and things like
So it's
that.
the principals that
I
need to be
might go
aware.
talk to the principal.
I told you this the other day.
I know. It's
Yeah.
really, really, really difficult.
Because this is year 7 that this is going on.
Well,
I mean, really, by the time your son went through and your daughter's going through, this is like pretty much 7 years of this now.
yeah.
You know,
So what
it's
do you
only
guys?
gotten worse.
Yeah. What do you guys think about?
Son got his phone back.
What do you guys think about what schools should do or what schools can do to be more thoughtful of blended families and kids going to school in 2 different homes in 2 different situations?
I bet we have some teachers on here too. If you're a teacher and you're a blended family aware person,
Mhm.
let us know what you're doing to help facilitate this, because maybe you'll have some good insight and we could help pass that along.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll talk about it on the next one and how other parents can deal with this.
And it's hard. I think teachers don't also understand, like they're not everyone is part of a blended family. And if you're not in it, you don't really get the struggle. And so I think a lot of teachers just aren't purposefully not mindful about it. But I
No,
just
of course
think that
not.
they're like
It's just
so much. I'm like sitting there as I'm reading this email we discussed earlier in this podcast back from this teacher. I know her. I've gone to school with her since junior high. And she's a mom, and she's got 2 beautiful girls, and she's, married and, never been divorced, and they have like this solid family unit and, like the dream family. And I'm sitting
do
here
they
and
have
I'm
a white
like,
picket fence?
they do.
Do they?
Probably. And I'm sitting here and I'm like thinking to myself, if you I'm like, friend, if you were in my shoes and you were the one reading this email as a mom, she would flip the fuck out.
There we go, you guys. It's a real word.
Right? Like I'm sitting there also like, if she were me and she was reading an email about her kid and the teacher was like, yeah, don't worry, the stepmom and I have it figured out. If it doesn't work out for you, let me know.
What's the movie where
She's the mom? Like, I just feel like some people just really don't put themselves in another person's shoes. Like they don't think before they speak, obviously.
if you were me, then I'd be you and I'd use your body to do it?
Let's talk about, we had this. So somebody wrote in when I asked about this subject on our support group, and somebody was like, what happened? Like, let's talk about kids in different school districts. And I'm like,
Wait, what do you mean? Like jumping between 2 school districts?
no, like blended families. Whose
and one
kids,
kid's in a school district and the other kids, like they live
different
like on
school districts.
borderlines. Interesting.
That's a bitch. We had, even us, we had kids in 4 different schools.
Yep. True story.
And that was,
Kind of in 4 different cities too.
yeah.
Almost 3 different cities.
So like pick up and drop off was like sketch, because if you were working,
We were juggling.
it was in like 10 minutes of like each other.
One was like
Thank God they staggered times a little bit.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
One was like 30 minutes away. It was chaos. So that's the other thing too, how do you get any type of grace for, multiple kids needing to be in multiple places at the same time?
Yeah, and
how does
different
that
school
work out?
districts, there's not busing. There's busing for one school district where you live, not 2. So then
Unless
what?
you're,
Maybe some kids
or in
ride
California,
the bus.
we've
and-
lost a lot of the busing systems, and now you have to pay. Like it's not like a new thing, but you have to pay for busing now. It's no longer like a public service.
It was like $270
it was
for the year.
expensive. Yeah,
I'm like,
like
what?
cool. Your $270 just bought you a new bike, and you are pedaling to school.
Yeah.
So
It's really difficult. Thank God kids grow up and drive. Like I can't wait for my son. He's 15. He'll be 16 next summer. And I'm like, the best thing about him driving is that his dad and I don't have to drop off at each other's houses. Hopefully he'll be able to have some sort of vehicle and he can just take him and his sister to and from. I'm like, even that going away is so awesome.
Maybe he can be a pilot, and we'll get him a kite, and then he can fly a kite.
I don't even understand what you're saying right now.
Come on, people are laughing.
Why?
Because you'd be like,
What
yeah, I'm
does
a
that
pilot. I fly a kite. Anyways, I'm funny to myself.
Yeah.
I can't hear everyone, but someone's laughing right now.
No one's laughing at you.
People are laughing.
So the different school district thing is interesting, and I think that you can do, if you have hardships, you can do inner school district transfers or school district transfers if it's a big enough issue.
Can you opt out of parenting?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can. It's just called.
But then you get made fun of and called names.
Yeah, and child support will find you.
Oh, yeah. Dang it. All right.
So
We're staying in this, people.
yeah. So someone says legally don't schools have to notify both parents.
You would assume so, right?
I mean, yeah, they have both of our emails. But I think it's when the kids get sent home with information.
Yeah, it's not
that.
Yeah, they are notifying, but also how
it's when kids are bringing home stuff.
how solid is that communication, you know? They're like, "Yeah, it's going out to everyone. Check off the box and they're on to the next thing." They don't follow up on it, and there's no one to really hold them accountable of it other than angry parents.
Right.
And you're like an angry parent, but you're not angry. Like they have no idea that you're angry. We have an idea that you're angry.
No, I'm
The
not.
viewers
I
have an
don't
idea.
make problems.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
it's not worth it. Like now my kids, I feel horrible just because I asked for this information and I'm like, please, can you send me this information?
Was
Thank
this in your
you.
sandwich?
No, this is to my ex.
Oh.
I'm like saying please and thank you. Like
Yeah.
I'm
You're
asking,
always
I
pretty
just
polite on that.
want this information, and it turned into irresponsible child and her
Yeah.
fault. And I'm like, please don't use my children or our children or your children. Like,
So
don't use children to
Well,
pass
and here's the other
stuff.
thing. So if the kids need to be responsible for this and you hold the kids responsible for this, us parents, adults need to make sure that the kids have a system to learn this type of stuff. So if we're like, all right, it's the kid's responsibility to take this to the other house, we need to make sure that their backpack, or in your daughter's case, her box, has all this information in it. It's our job to check all these forms and put them in the box.
Well, and that was his point. His point was they did that and she took it out.
What? Okay. Anyways, deflect.
Well, I don't know. So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're speculating now, but it doesn't matter. Like it needs to be like it's our job as parents and adults to make sure that this information gets to the other parent and other adult. You know, it goes in there last minute. Don't remove this, little Susie, or
little Susie.
or I'm gonna tell your mom how angry I am at you, and you're gonna be grounded.
So I think with distance learning, it's a lot of frustrations, and it's a lot of everyone. It kind of is flipping the fuck out.
Jeez, there she goes again, you guys.
I went to the dentist today to get my teeth
I
cleaned.
pressed the wrong button.
I went to the dentist today to get my teeth cleaned, and I sit down, and the lady goes, "So how's distance learning my hygienist? How is distance learning going for you?" I just got done cleaning a mom who wants to come back next week so she can have an hour break from her children.
That's what I was thinking as you started the story. Yeah.
And I'm
She's
like,
I need a root canal next week, please.
yes.
Like,
What's your
perfect.
longest procedure?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Do you guys do brain surgeries?
So that's really sad that this is like you'd rather go to the dentist than be home with your kids. And I get it. It's super frustrating. It's
Talk about tension.
It's frustrating.
It's so frustrating.
And then everybody's like, be quiet because I can't, then the house has to be quiet so everyone can hear their Zoom meetings.
But this is also like, this is in a perfect scenario household, because we're having, our kids are pretty fortunate in this household that they all kind of have their own space.
Yeah.
But even like your daughter, you don't want her in her room in like a weird posture or something. So
no,
you
her
put her
desk,
in the,
her desk is like a baby desk.
well,
it's
whose fault's
tiny.
that?
So like, there's no room for her to like.
We're gonna get
put
her a
her-
Veridesk.
put
She's
her
gonna start
stuff.
standing up.
But there's no room for her, and I don't
Right.
want her laying
So
on
she-
her bed.
Right. So she's at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
One kid's upstairs in his room. The other kid will be downstairs in his room. So they all kind of have their own levels and situations. However, at the other house, and I'm sure a lot of people can empathize with this, some kids are sharing rooms, so they don't have their own quiet space, you know? So, like your son, for instance, is getting put somewhere else, right?
Yeah, the counter in the kitchen.
Yeah, you know, so you guys are having to play musical kids in musical rooms, and then us as parents say, okay, well, now I'm home with the kids because I'm not working or I'm being forced to stay home and do this. Now you can't go about like even being productive, because how do you run the vacuum cleaner while a kid's on a Zoom meeting? You know, how do you run the dishwasher, or, you know what I mean? There's stuff to do. There's projects to do at home. Or do we just sit there and co-teacher our kids?
Yeah.
It's a new thing.
Well,
Co-teaching.
I mean, it's been nice to be able to be available to help my daughter with some things.
But wouldn't you rather be at work?
No.
Yeah.
No, I
Right.
wouldn't. But you know, I think
Or
it's
homeless.
about
Yes, Brooke is right. What if you're homeless? And our city has a lot, like has a huge number of homeless children.
Yeah.
You know, we know we've helped out,
Yep.
you know, doing some volunteering, you know, to help out through church and stuff. And it's not like a fictitious thing. Like it's a real thing.
Yeah,
You
a
know,
lot of kids live in cars, and you know,
yeah, if I remember correctly, our district, or no, sorry, our county has over 2,000 homeless children
yeah,
in our county.
yeah.
I mean, it's a decent sized county, but it's
schools-
not LA County.
No,
It's not
but I
San
mean,
Francisco, you know?
I think schools are providing what they can. You know, they're giving all the Chromebooks, and then you know you find an
But how do you
internet
charge
place.
that? You know, like it's just, it makes
I
things
don't
difficult.
know.
It makes
you know,
things difficult.
Shelters have plugins. I don't know if they're allowing shelters to open for
They
school.
have to be. Yeah. It's
Can
interesting.
they have shelters during COVID? I don't know.
Oh, that's another interesting thing.
I would hope so.
New York
Um,
has nursing homes.
Okay. Moving
Bad joke.
on,
Sorry, you
dear
guys, if you're in
God.
New York.
But I think it's all, you know, you have to take distance learning day by day, assignment by assignment. And I think teachers and parents have to extend a lot of grace across the aisle during this time. And so I would invite people not to get so overwhelmed by the experience in total, you know, like the whole year, and maybe just look at each day as it comes, and it'll get better. You know, it's new. It's not the new normal yet. It is just, you know, like we're fighting against the grain because we don't want to do it. We think it's stupid. Our kids hate it. We hate it. And we are going into it right off the bat in such a bad attitude. And, you
Story of
know,
my life.
so what I'm doing for my daughter who's super social, because the hardest part of school for her is being away from her friends. So I had talked to you about this, and I'm like, I'm just going to have to make a really big effort to make sure that she is socializing, that she's, you know, her neighbor, one of her best friends is actually a neighbor of ours. So during lunch break,
Whenever that may be.
the two girls will go down to the park at the end of our street, and they have lunch together.
They break all the rules, you guys.
They do. They go have like a little picnic down at the park, and they're at least able to have lunch, you know,
A little bit of social activity.
a little bit of social activity, and trying to connect with other friends like after school for maybe like an hour of play.
1/10 mile of exercise.
Yeah, we have friends who were actually organizing at the school. Gosh, I hope I don't get anyone in trouble.
You didn't say who it was or
I
when
didn't.
it was.
So we have friends who are like, you know, she's calling her friends and getting kids together to go to the school after school hours and like do some soccer and run around and get some exercise in. And I think that we as parents have to make a concerted effort to make sure our kids are okay mentally. And what that means is give them those relationships as we can. You know, make an effort to make sure our kids are still able to connect with people as we can. It's not going to be perfect,
Well,
but
and also
it'll
get-
help their attitude
But also
during
getting
distance
breaks
learning.
out of the house, away from parents, away from other siblings, you
Yeah.
know, just get outside. And if you're anywhere but California, get some fresh air. 'Cause
Yeah,
you can't breathe in the state right now. It's on
not
fire.
right now. I think am I going to run in the morning?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No. I would stay home and eat those brownies you were talking about,
Oh my gosh.
apparently.
But yeah, I just think it's important. And kids are going to look at you as parents as they're going through school and distance learning. And if you're having a bad attitude and your kids are hearing about how much you hate this and how stupid this is, and then you can't expect them to have a good attitude.
Fifth
If you're
grade math
gonna
level, baby.
if
Fifth grade
you're
math
gonna
level.
lead your kids with a bad attitude in anything you're doing or anything they have to do, you can't expect them to be different, and then they can't get in trouble for having a bad attitude. So, it all starts and ends with how you're setting it up for them,
Or they can get in trouble for the bad attitude, but then that just teaches them entitlement. Anyways. Gosh.
Anyways. Oh, yeah. So someone saying that, oh, hey, girl, I have families who live in a room and share housing because they can't afford an apartment. Oh, yeah. Families all living together, and that's why I'm, reach out and figure out. And if you can help other families to reach out and figure out where free internet is so that kids can go out.
Or maybe your neighbor has Wi-Fi and you can't afford it, or,
Yeah.
or your neighbor can't afford it. Be like, hey, I know your kids. Or maybe you don't even put it like that. Be like, hey, if you guys ever need, to jump on our Wi-Fi, here's the password,
Yeah.
You'll know the circumstances. You'll know the situation. If you're like, it could be iffy. And maybe the other family ditches their Wi-Fi and they're just completely mooching off you now. But look at it as like, it's probably not
If they
affecting you
start
that much.
mooching, then you can change the password.
Block them.
You know what I
If you-
mean? Like,
yeah.
also, yeah, that's a really nice thing. You can offer, if you know somebody who's a grandma or grandpa and may not have kids in the home anymore, but they have good Wi-Fi and they're a neighbor, I think that's where we all need to kind of help each other out and support one another. And then parents, get connections. Go have coffee with a friend. Go for a walk. Do something that gets you out of your funk, because they know it's really hard. It's hard for families with lots of kids in the home, and they're trying to like manage everyone, and everyone has questions all at once, and you're losing your mind because you don't even know what's being taught, but you're having to jump in and help. I don't know.
We could start a nonprofit. We're going to call it COVID Cakes. And it's just going to be encouraging cakes that we're just going to take around to people just to encourage them. You're starting this tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. Oh, excuse me.
I'll bake cakes.
And go give them out to people?
Yeah, you think people would eat
You
them?
just
or would they-
Aoki people, just smash it in their face. That'd be kind of fun, right?
No.
Oh.
Anyway, I think that if you want to see changes in your schools, especially as blended families, I know that I'm going to start talking to the principal and trying to figure out ways that schools can support blended families and kids and parents and blended families a little bit more, and how to be more mindful. So write into us and let us know what changes you would like to see. And then maybe go meet with your school and your teachers and be an advocate for blended families in your school district and your school home life, because it's really, it's a hard situation.
Any help in your shitty will help.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say it again.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, guys.
Anyways, are we done with this one?
I think so.
I think we're out, you guys. If you guys enjoyed this or didn't enjoy this, leave that 5-star review, because that's all that can be left. We've talked about this. And I want to thank you guys who have been leaving those 5-star reviews. We've gotten quite a few of them over this last week or two. And just thank you guys for all that. But
yeah. And then be a good co-parent. That's also how you can help your kids out, right? Like,
only you can be a good co-parent.
right? Share information.
We can't prevent forest fires anymore. This place is on fire.
I know.
It's burning
poor
down,
Callie.
you guys.
But share information. Don't be a dick. That's all I have to say on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to Blended Life tonight. Don't forget to connect with us on all the social media. And you guys have all been writing in. A lot of you have been writing in. And that's been a lot of fun because we've been connecting with a lot of you. It's been keeping Julie busy during the daytime. I'm usually talking to you guys on YouTube and whatnot. I have a lot of responses on YouTube. It keeps me busy.
Let's start COVID cakes.
Okay.
What if everyone baked one cake and delivered it to a neighbor as a surprise and take a picture and send it in to me? And maybe I'll give you guys a prize.
Hashtag COVID cakes.
Yeah,
We're going to start this right now, you guys.
do it.
Tomorrow?
Send me a picture of the cake and are you delivering the cake?
Yes, make it
And
a
maybe
story
we'll
and tag us.
Send you guys a little something, something.
Okay, we're going to start this tomorrow. It's happening. You can't drop the ball on this.
COVID cakes.
Okay, COVID cakes, you guys. Hashtag COVID cakes. Bye, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.